So hi everyone and welcome to the brand new series 4 of the Confidence Conversations podcast. So if you've been following the podcast for a while, welcome back to series 4. If you are just joining us, you are more than welcome. The thinking behind the podcast is about having honest, authentic, there's that word, confidence conversations. I don't do any editing. So what you hear is the conversation as exactly as it happened, with all the ums and ahs, because that is right how we have a normal conversation. So if you don't know me, I'm Gail Tong from Enrichment Coaching. I'm a confidence and personal development coach, and I help people to turn their self-doubt into confident action. I'm really excited to kick off this brand new series with not one, but two, putting up my big pants, fabulous guests at the same time, and that's Emma Jenkins and Vanda Varga. Both of them have joined me before, but this time we're diving in as a three together into a topic that is obviously at the heart of everything I do, and that is about core confidence, where it comes from, how we build it, what our daily habits are. So in this episode, we explore what confidence really means, how it shows up differently for each of us because it's different for everyone, how we can build it through daily habits, being intentional with our actions. You'll hear some honest reflections, some practical tips that you can go away and take action with because it's all about action, and some brilliant stories as well, from horses to Lego blocks, all that bring confidence to life in a really, I think, practical and relatable way. And new for series 4, we'll be wrapping up with some quick fire confidence questions, which I promise are great questions, not necessarily quick fire, but they definitely are insightful in terms of how our guests will see their confidence and what they do to build their daily, weekly, yearly confidence over time, because what we know is confidence is such a roller coaster, right? And I think Jackie Jagger said in the episode about the inner critic last season that confidence is hard won and easy lost. So go grab yourself a cup of tea or coffee or your beverage of choice and listen to what is a great episode with Emma and Vanda. Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of the brand new series of the Confidence Conversations podcast. And if you're watching, you can see that it's not just me. I'm firmly pulling up my big pants and challenging myself with two fabulous women that I know will do the podcast justice for the first episode and the first time we've ever had three people on together, two guests. So a massive welcome to Emma and to Vanda, who have both been on the podcast before. But before we go on to introduce them, today we're going to be talking about core confidence and how we build daily habits. And then brand new for this series, we've got some quick fire confidence questions. I'm not sure how quick they're going to be, but there are 4 questions that I'll ask Emma and Vanda individually for their tips right at the very end. So I'm really excited to be going again with the new series, and particularly starting off with 2 guests. So Emma, why don't you go first and briefly introduce yourself for people that may not have listened or watched you before?
Well, hello, I'm Emma, if you haven't met me before, and I run a business called Mosaic Mediation, but I also have lots of other collaborative ventures that I do with other people. I guess you could refer to me as a bit of a professional peacemaker. I'm a mediator. I do mediation work within organisations, so workplace mediation, and I also do SEND mediations, so special educational needs, and I also do all sorts of stuff around coaching people with conflict and management, and I also do disc profiling, anything really that has that aim of helping people find true peace, not the peacekeeping type of peace, the peacemaking type of peace.
Thank you. And Vanda?
I just love that, Emma. That was amazing already. Hello, everybody. I'm Vanda, and I am a tour guide to your mind. So I help you explore, uncover, and remap your map of the world. So the way how you think, how you feel, how you communicate, how you experience the world all together. So then you can navigate in those thoughts and feelings that you have with a bit more confidence, clarity, and a bit of ease as well. So I have people with their personal growth and mental fitness in one-to-one sessions. I teach neuro-linguistic programming in certified NLP practitioner courses. Absolutely love doing that. And I also help companies as well, just like Emma, but it's all around mental fitness. So I work with bigger corporations as well as small ones. I love working with B Corps, for instance, I help them teach their staff how to deal with their mental fitness and how to develop it.
Amazing. And I can't think of two better people to start us off. So we've no idea, by the way, listeners, how this is going to go, because it's the first time. So we're just going to confidently step out of our comfort zone and go with it. So I'm going to start, like I always do, with the first question I'd love to know how each of you define confidence. So Vanda, why don't you go first on this one and tell us how you define confidence, and then Emma will come to you.
Oh, thank you. Yes, confidence. It is a big question, isn't it? Because it will mean something completely different for each individual. Because we may have the word shared, so we all understand that there is a word called confidence and what that means to us. But the meaning of the word will be very unique to each individual. So for me, what is really important about confidence is not about I'm confident that everything will be great and candies and rainbows, but it is about the deep inner confidence that it doesn't matter what comes my way, what comes next, I will be able to deal with it. Yeah. So it's that deep inner belief in your own skills, in your own abilities, in your values, in your belief system, that you know that you will be okay no matter what life throws at you.
Amazing, thank you. And Emma, what would you like to add?
I mean, I love that. This is the thing with this podcast. We're all fans of each other. So it's going to make this conversation really easy. So I think, absolutely. Everything that Vanda has said, and the fact that everyone has a different idea of what confidence means for them as well. I think the word that kept coming to me when I was thinking about this was actually this sense of self-assuredness, that, you know, it comes from yourself, but without skipping forward too much into the conversation, I think it doesn't necessarily happen first, that sense of self-assuredness.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? Because the more I think I'm talking to people about confidence, people that are probably similar to us, and they work with people, and they're raising self-awareness and that kind of thing. People are often saying, oh, it's about this self-assuredness, this self-trust, this piece that says everything will be okay. And I think for me, that's kind of this, to have a bit of an innate self-trust that whatever happens, it's going to be okay. And I know I've jokingly said, we don't know what's going to happen with the podcast, because we don't, but at the end of the day, right, it's just a podcast. We're all going to be okay. So it doesn't really matter how it goes, but there's an element of sometimes you've just got to, and Emma, maybe this is what you were alluding to, that there's a piece that says you got to have a bit of courage, right, before you get to the confidence piece, because confidence doesn't really come. You're not going to be confident doing something for the first time ever, are you? It's unlikely, I would think, if you dig really deeply. So, Emma, let me come to you. With that in mind, was there a time where maybe you didn't feel confident?
Yes, absolutely. And I think pinpointing one time is probably the hardest bit, really. I think, you know, when I went through schooling, you know, I was confident in learning and the academia side of things. I was confident in certain aspects of the sociable side of it, but actually I was really shy at school. And people used to find that really bizarre, because at home I was kind of known as the loud one out of my siblings. And so I was definitely, you know, probably up until like year 9, which I think is probably around the age of 14 or something, 13, 14. Then I really wasn't very confident in school. I didn't always allow people, I did unfortunately allow people to treat me in a way that wasn't respectful sometimes. And I think I just kind of came to a point where I was like, enough. And I enjoyed how I was as a person outside of school. And I enjoyed who I was as a person outside of school. And I just decided I'm just going to be that here as well. And that made a big difference. I'd say if there are a couple of other things that I don't need to go into too much because it's quite obvious, but new experiences like becoming a mum for the first time, having felt quite confident again with academic things and just, doing skills and sports and stuff like that. I always felt a level of confidence with those things. And then when I became a mum, suddenly I was like, oh my goodness, I have not got a rule book for this. And learning how to push forward when you just didn't feel adequate or prepared, because you never really are with parenting. I think that's another one that stands out as well.
I think the bit for me is when you kind of said, well, I can't really pick one because there's maybe been more than once where I've not been confident. Vanda, what about you?
Oh, I was just going to say exactly that. Every single time you start something new, you are going to have that lack of confidence, won't you? Because you haven't done the thing that will then give you the confidence yet. So yeah, very, very recent one for me is about being a horse owner. I mean, I can't not mention that I just recently got a horse, can I? But yeah, God, I actually posted about it not long ago that I did not expect. I mean, I knew it was going to be hard. I knew it came with a lot of responsibility, a lot of learning and growing, which I love, by the way. It's still scary, but I love doing it. But I didn't know it would come with such a sense of an identity crisis. And feeling like a complete imposter and not knowing what I'm doing and having so many people with different voices and so much noise around you. Everybody has an opinion and everybody wants to help. But at the same time, just by giving you those many times unsolicited advice, that confuses you even more, doesn't it? And that's when your confidence just keeps dropping and dropping and dropping. I actually believe that it is like becoming a mum, when you're a parent. And isn't it? It's like that. It's something completely new with a lot of responsibility, and everybody has an opinion, and everybody knows best. And I think what is important here for us to learn is that it will happen. It will happen in our life every time we decide that, okay, I'm going to start a new role. I am going to grow and evolve and learn new skills. It will come with that state of or stage of confusion. And after confusion comes the breakthrough. So we love a bit of confusions, don't we? But at the same time, I think what helped me overcome that is to say, stop. Stop with the noise. Stop with the opinions. I understand that I'm just figuring this out, but it's just too loud at the moment. So can you all please very respectfully back off and let me figure it out myself. If I need advice, I will come for advice. And that just helped me putting those boundaries in place, helped me actually figure out what is right for me, connect back with my own values and my belief system, and looking for all those transferable skills that I could bring into this role in life. And see that, I've done many of these before, actually. I know how to do this. It's just this time it's called Delilah. That's about the difference. And yes, a lot of things I had to learn, and I'm still learning. God, it's only been a month and a half. But yeah, I think this is it. It's those boundaries and then the inner self-belief again, looking back at your transferable skills that then helps you feel that I actually know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I think one of the things that you said that as you were talking, and I wrote people, voices and opinions. And I think sometimes that, like you said, all of that noise, doesn't it? That starts to chip away at your confidence, because you start to think, oh, hang on, is there something in that? Should I believe them? You start shoulding on yourself then as well, don't you? Yeah, it's interesting. Emma, do you want to add anything else? Because I could see you were nodding along there.
Yeah, I felt like a bit of a nodding dog sometimes when everything Vanda was saying, I was going, yes, preach. But I think it's that as well, isn't it? That, when we have a level of responsibility, then that really often is a moment for figuring out, are you up to the task? Do I feel like I'm up to the task? Because that level of responsibility suggests that you should, that word, be capable of doing it. And then yes, when you have differing perspectives on what is okay and what you should do and what you shouldn't do, and all of the shoulds just go into play, And yes, I definitely resonated with that feeling of I just need to block out the noise and do what seems right. And I think one of the things that my husband and I, when we first had our children, what we decided was actually there are so many different approaches out there that we just needed to make it simple. And I think that really helped with the confidence as well, is that rather than feeling like you had to cover all of the 101 rules that people apply to a situation, is to just have like a couple of principles that are like our guiding principles throughout, and we just keep referring back to those. And that certainly helped, I think, for sure.
Yeah, I think the human nature is that people want to rescue, don't they? They want to fix, they want to help, they want to solve. But actually, sometimes it's not helpful. It's not, because they're not rescuing you. They're just helping you to drown in more noise and more self-doubt, if you like, and questioning. And I like the idea of having a couple of like really sort of guiding principles that just said, hang on, like you said, Vanda, stop. Let's just bring that back around a minute and let's just see where we are. So do you think then it's fair to say that confidence isn't something we're born with, it's something that we build? Vanda, what do you think?
Yes.
Here's the short
I do
answer.
think so. I think, yeah, seriously, this is the short answer, isn't it? It's we develop it, don't we? We need to do things in order to become confident. I think, was it Harry Ford who said that the feelings of confidence come after the action of confidence?
Yeah.
So yeah, we are born with a clean slate, completely clean slate, isn't it? So then it's down to our upbringing whether we will be a naturally more positive and confident person or someone who keeps doubting themselves. And this is when it's becomes so important that the parents take care of their minds and their mental fitness and their confidence and everything else, so they don't pass all their self-doubt onto their children unknowingly. It's only because children just keep modeling and soaking up all the information they are getting from those authoritative figures, isn't it? Yes, I do believe that we do develop confidence and we keep developing it at different stages of life. It's absolutely not linear. It goes like this, doesn't it? Up and down, up and down, up and down.
Yeah, Emma, what are your thoughts on that?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think some people are born with a kind of a natural ability to not necessarily need external ways of feeling, justified in their feelings, external validation. Some people don't necessarily need as much of that in certain areas, but I wouldn't say that also then means that they're confident in all areas either. Just because they don't look for the outside for validation doesn't mean that they are therefore more self-assured moving forward. They may just not look for the solution in the same way that other people who like a bit of external validation might do. And I think similarly, we sometimes misconstrue people being extroverted and loud and, for confidence, rather than actually that's just how they communicate. That often, perhaps it seems confident because that's what we perceive as a confident way of communicating, but it doesn't mean that internally at their core they feel confident.
I love that.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right, because actually you can be a confident introvert, right?
Yes. Yeah. And I think of different people that I know, like I've someone in my family, when they were getting married, their future mother-in-law was very kind of calm, quiet as an individual. But my goodness, did she get them the best deals on their wedding plans. She was amazing at just going in there and going, I think you can do better than that. But she didn't come across as one of those stereotypical, so-called confident people. But she just knew, she moved, in a way that was very self-assured and got them an amazing deal. And she's often someone that I think about when you're talking about, someone who's an introverted but confident person.
Everybody's now thinking, where can I get this woman's number?
Yeah.
To get some good deals. How can I find her? Vanda, what do you think about the extroverted, introverted piece relating to confidence?
Yeah, I think very, very similarly. There is this saying, I don't know if it's a saying in English as well or just Hungarian, that the dog that barks the loudest doesn't bite.
Mm.
Is that an English saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. But yes, just because outwardly somebody is extremely confident or comes across, as Emma said, as extremely confident, that does not mean that they have the confidence that many introverts do. And, I end up working with those people, as I'm sure you guys do as well. It's the ones that actually are so loud, everybody perceives them as confident, which then adds to their self-doubt and their imposter thoughts and feelings that, oh, everybody thinks that, or I don't feel it. And, whatever you see on the outside, we can't really judge a book by its cover, can we?
Well, perception's fascinating as well, isn't it? From a point of view of how we maybe have been taught to perceive what confidence should look like or does look like. And actually real confidence probably isn't like that at all.
Acting confident or feeling confident are two completely different things, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah. And I've just completed some imposter syndrome coach training, and one of the techniques in that is about acting as if you are confident, because the more you act as if, the more you start to believe it, and then you turn around that inner self-belief that actually I'm not an imposter anymore. And part of the training, kind of talks about actually the main way to stop feeling like an imposter is to stop believing and behaving like one. It takes work, doesn't it? It's hard work, and it's the work that we all kind of do all of the time. But those feelings are probably always going to be there, particularly in what we've just described about a new role or, taking on something new that we've not done before. All of those feelings are all normal and they're all going to happen, but we'll all find our way through. So back to that point of self-trust, everything's going to be okay if you have that. Of course it is. Of course it is. Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? What then is a common myth that you wish people would stop believing about confidence? Emma, what would be your common myth?
I think that feeling that it's unobtainable. I think, that so many people think that they are left with where they started, that's it for them. And I think this going back to what we were saying about it can be taught, you can learn these skills, is because we have, as a three, in our different work that we do, we have seen people go from feeling pretty, unconfident and not feeling able to do certain things. But then you work with them a little bit, you work on the mindset, you get them to do the things that provide evidence that show they can do the things, and then building that confidence. And then they start inhabiting that sense of confidence when they go throughout the activities that they were previously nervous of. And it's only sometimes when you point it out, like, look how you're talking about this compared to how you were when we first started working on this, that sometimes they don't even perceive how their confidence has grown, but it just shines through them.
Yeah. Vanda, you were like, Emma's stolen what I was going to say.
Actually, I can't completely agree with what Emma said, obviously. Surprise, surprise. But yes, the only thing I would add to that is, yes, people think that it's unobtainable, but people also think that you're going to wake up one morning and feel confident. So many people come to us, and it's not just work, is it? It's our friends who come to us and say, I couldn't do what you do. I don't feel confident enough. Well, guess how I felt when I first started. You need to get going. You need to do those things that will bring you the confidence. That's how you are going to obtain it, won't you? Just by waiting in between the four walls and hoping that tomorrow morning will be the morning when I wake up and I am going to suddenly have this burst of confidence. Guess what's going to happen then? You can keep waiting. It's not going to come, unless you do something about it.
And I think that's the thing for me, to both of your points there, is about, Emma, you mentioned that we all work with people that come and they probably say, oh, I just don't have any confidence, or I wish I could be as confident as that person that I sit opposite the table from at the meeting, because they articulate everything brilliantly. And I often think, oh, why couldn't I say things like that? But actually then what happens is the client goes off and do the work. And then they come back and again, you say, well, listen to how you're talking about that. Can you just stop and play that back to yourself? It's just that encouragement, isn't it, of somebody who maybe might be a little bit more confident, or being able to play that back to them to say, look at the work you have done. And you're quite right, Vanda, action is where it's at, isn't it? And if we never, if we're going to wait until we're confident, we're never going to do anything, are we? We're actually probably not even going to get out of bed. Because what are we probably confident about in the morning? That I can make a cup of tea and I can clean my teeth if I remember. But anything else about what's going to happen in the day is we just don't know. So we can't even be confident that the train or the bus is going to turn up on time, or that we're not going to get stuck in traffic. So you're right. We just can't wait. Myths about confidence are interesting, aren't they? And I also wonder how much they're linked to perception again.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on how they might be linked?
I think so. I think we have expectations of ourselves and of other people. And I think if we don't tick certain boxes, then sometimes we can kind of write ourselves off a little bit. So if for some people, they might feel more confident because they have a certificate that proves they can do something. But actually, for some people, they have learnt the skill a different way that didn't have a certification element to it. And so, but they perhaps may hold themselves back from shouting about those skills or putting them into practice because they don't have the tick in the box that says, I've got a certificate that proves I can do this.
Yeah, and that's really interesting. I had a client, or I'm still working with her, and she came to me saying, "Oh, I don't feel like I haven't got any hard skills. I've only got soft skills." I was like, "Hang on, can we just talk about what you mean by hard and soft?" And by hard, she meant qualifications. So she meant the certificates and the soft skills. She said, "Oh, I also work in the hospitality industry, and my manager says I'm really good with people. So that I've got the soft skills, but I don't." And I found myself saying to her, "Yeah, but hang on. I have got a degree in retail management. It didn't teach me anything about running a store or how to manage people. I learned all of that over all the years of getting stuff wrong and going into things with a certain amount of confidence, maybe, to say I'm going to deal with this, and then it going completely wrong and then learning from it." So I don't, and I challenged her to say, are they not all skills? They're not this hard and soft thing.
Yeah.
May I just add to that skills don't come with the certificate?
No.
As Emma said, there are many, many courses that are not run at PhD level.
No.
Because it's just not the system that they are built in. It doesn't mean that you don't pick up the skills. Even if you learn skills online or pick it up in real life, whatever happens, just because you don't have a piece of paper that somebody else put a stamp on, it does not mean that you don't have the skills. You don't have a stamp next to it, but that's about it. And could I also just add to that, please, that it's I think it's the measurement, isn't it? It's what people measure their skill levels, their confidence, their everything by. It's what Emma said about these expectations from the outside world, or the expectations that we place upon ourselves, the pressure we put upon ourselves. And we keep comparing ourselves to others, as opposed to learning how to compare ourselves to the person we were yesterday, and how much we've learned, how much we've grown, how much we've evolved, and what else is out there. It's having that attitude of curiosity towards how much further can I go? How much more can I learn? How much more can I do for me? Not for whatever the measurement is, the external measurement.
And comparison's massive as well, isn't it? I mean, that's a whole, actually there is an episode, I did an episode with Claire Henley about comparison, but it's a whole thing around, I'm a big believer in stay in your own lane. Stay in your own lane. Don't listen back to that noise. Don't listen to the noise. Stay in your own lane, because and actually coming back to the people that come and say, oh, I wish I was more confident than that person. Find your own confidence. What does your own confidence, like we said right at the very beginning, it's going to mean different things to different people. So find your own confidence and work on that piece.
Yeah. I always say to the clients that come to me, that struggle with lack of confidence in particular, I always tell them at the beginning that you can borrow my confidence in your abilities for now until we build your own. Because you need to find your own. And then it's going back to this external feedback that you're getting from people. How about finding that inner voice that gives you the feedback so you always feel that you are okay? It's not about becoming arrogant or boastful or cocky. It's not about thinking that you know everything. It's about knowing that, yes, there are still things out there in the world that I haven't learned yet. And I've got all these things that I already have. Because those are the solid foundation of confidence for whatever that castle is that you're building.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Emma, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I just think that's it sums it up so well, really, is we all come to this world as babies with very few skills and it's everything builds upon what has happened before. And so I think, I actually wrote about this recently. I really like the idea of the power of yet. That, when we talk about not being able to do something, that actually just embracing the yet bit about that as yet I have not accomplished, I have not learned to do this particular skill, and that's okay. And being comfortable in that in-between stage of wanting to be able to do something and not quite having done it as yet, but knowing that you've had many previous yets that you have then achieved that you can build upon for this next thing that you're looking towards.
Yeah, and I think we're guilty, aren't we, of not looking back at what we said, I haven't done this yet, to before, and going, oh, well, actually, I did that. And so I can borrow that mindset from that piece to give me a little boost of confidence, whatever that might look like. Let's move on then and talk about, I'm interested to know kind of about sort of how do we build daily habits? So is there a small habit or a practice that you do regularly that helps you to feel more confident? Emma, let's start with you on this one.
So I think there are different things that just help you feel good. And I think when you feel good, that just helps provide a bit of a foundation. So there are certain things that I know help me feel good. So I love having music on when I'm working or doing a task which is either a bit uninteresting to me, or is one that feels a little bit challenging. That just having some uplifting music on immediately gives me a sense of being a bit more positive in my outlook. And so that often really helps. I think also doing things that you know you're good at. If you're coming across a challenge that you don't quite feel so confident in as yet, but you've got other things that you're good at, having some of those things that you do in between can be really helpful. So, I play piano, I sing, I like cooking, and those are certain things that, I can go and make a tasty meal and I don't feel doubt about that at all, which is nice. And it means then that, if I've had like a tricky day or I'm, then I'll just go and make something nice. And immediately I think I feel a little bit more uplifted, good about myself, ready to conquer something else.
Yeah, great. Thank you. I love that. I too have to have music on all the time. And it went off earlier and I was like, what's going on? Has the internet gone down? Why has the music stopped playing? I really notice it. And yet when Paul's here, he can't have, so thank goodness we're on different floors because he likes the quiet. Whereas I like to have and I just listen to the radio because then I haven't got any decisions to make either. I'm not doubting what I want, what I do and what don't want to listen to. I just have the radio and then I'm just given the music. So yeah, thank you. Vanda, what about you? What do you do regularly to help your confidence?
I think everything again that Emma mentioned is so important, to do things that you actually like and you feel good at and you feel confident with, to keep that level of confidence or that sense of confidence in general. What I also do, and I suggest to everybody really that I meet, is a bit of reflective practice. So at the end of the day, I reflect back on the day of what happened. And even if it was a very bad day, I have quite not strict, but firm guidelines in how I do it. So it's always about making sure that I point out all the things that went well and what I did right as well. So I keep building on my own confidence. I can point out one thing, maximum two if I really needed to, that I still want to work on, or something new that I want to develop perhaps, but everything with reflection and not judgment. And that is the strongest guideline here, that it's reflection as opposed to judgment. And once you've done that and you reflect and you have a good level, a good feeling about yourself, about your day, about what you've accomplished in that day, the skills that you've utilized, you just start seeing the good in you, building that inner confidence, then you can set your intentions with that level of high, if you like, the feeling of high, to how to improve on those one or two things that you pointed out. So what are my intentions for the coming days? What am I going to do about these two things? Or am I just going to leave it for a bit and come back to it later? What do I want to notice in the coming day? What sort of skills do I want to showcase for myself, not even for anybody else? So you can set some intentions for you. And then that's essentially the basis of intentional living, isn't it? Is that we don't just let the world pass by, but we decide how we want our day to look like. Doesn't always go to plan, and that's okay. That's what the reflection is for, isn't it? Then we can have a look at, okay, so what did I do right to make it happen? Perhaps what could have gone a little bit differently? How can I make it happen in a different way tomorrow? And I just feel that really, really improves my belief in myself, that I do have those little Lego blocks of skills that will then be transferable, and I can just put them together in a different shape and perhaps make a sunflower out of them, like Emma has behind her. or whatever I choose to. I still have those blocks, even if the big picture didn't happen that day. I still have those little Lego blocks, and I can build something new tomorrow.
I also really like your strict guidelines around one or maximum two things to say they didn't go quite so well, because that's the challenge, isn't it? You reflect on the day, but because naturally we're focused on the negatives, aren't we? So having those really clear boundaries, and a bit like confidence, that's a practice as well, isn't it? That reflective practice is a practice, as well as confidence is also a practice that we need to do to go on.
And I think what's also quite good about what Vanda was saying with that is that it's, so often we're doing tasks that don't have like a quantitative type data output at the end. If you've not got a job where there's like sales targets or things like that, where there's like a number you can attach to it, then it can be really difficult to be able to give yourself feedback. But getting into the habit of reflective practice can be a really good way that, yes, it may not come out with a number as such, but it can start to train you to think about how you feel about a scenario as well as what objectively happened. So you can kind of build this stack of evidence of what you can do. And that's what we were talking about at the beginning, wasn't it, with the external validation. And I think that really works well. And as a mediator, it's sometimes really difficult to kind of look back and not overthink what question could I have asked differently. If I had done breaks at a different time, would that have made things smoother? Even if you had a really positive outcome, and I'm sure that is the same for so many other industries out there, where you could get into the habit of just recycling the day in your mind and not really being able to pinpoint what went well and what didn't. And so sitting down, getting it out of your head and onto paper is such a great exercise. Yeah. So I just wanted to add to that.
I think everybody looks back, don't they, and says, could I have asked a better question? I was talking to someone this morning about powerful questions. In coaching, there's this, we must ask powerful questions, but the power's only in the eye of the beholder, actually. Yes. So the person that you're asking the question to is only powerful if it lands with them. So, you can't, in the beginning, I was like, oh, I probably should be asking some powerful questions. What are powerful questions? Where do I get them from? How do I know if they're powerful? And then I was like, oh my God, Gail, stay in your own lane. Again, back to that. Let's stop. Stay in your own lane. It's only powerful. If it's powerful when it lands with the person you're working with. Yeah, and who's to say if you'd have done breaks at a different time, or it would have made any difference? Probably not. So why do we spend our time chipping away at our confidence for that? I'm really interested. I'm really aware of time as well, because I do know that three of us could probably do like a whole day's 24 hours of podcasting or something. I've just got, before we come on to the quickfire, there's one thing that I'd love to know, and that is, what's something you wish you'd known about confidence 5 years ago? Vanda, what would that be for you?
That it's not consistent. That it's not always there. You cannot be confident 24/7. If you are confident 24/7, that means that you are not learning, that you're not growing, you're not developing. If you are learning, growing and developing and experimenting with new things and experiencing life, you're bound to have ups and downs. And isn't that amazing? Because once you are down, you can start climbing back up. And each time you're going to go just a little bit higher. And sometimes you're going to go down to the bottom. And then you're going to climb up a little bit slower. But still, that just means that you are growing and developing. And you cannot expect yourself to feel confident 24/7.
I love that. A client, I'll come to you, Emma, in a second. A client of mine ages ago described confidence as a diving belt. And you put weights on and take weights off, as sometimes you come to the surface, sometimes you sink, and that diving belt was kind of her consistency. She wasn't a diver, but I just thought it was a good analogy. That diving belt kept her confidence at a consistent level. When things happened that knocked, she sunk to the bottom, and when things happened that went well, she came to the surface, which I thought was really interesting. Emma, what would you wish you'd have known about confidence 5 years ago?
I think it's that you need to do the thing first and not wait for the feeling, because the confidence comes after. And I think also that that sense of when you do a task, to consider what outcome you have in your mind, because sometimes it's doing the task should be just the goal. Like, don't go further than that. Sometimes just having that as your aim can really help. If you go beyond that, when actually the first thing of doing the action, it can feel like a big challenge anyway. Just like take it back, and that's okay in itself as a goal, but do the thing first.
I think for me, and clearly I've built a business around confidence that's now 6 years old, but I think for me, I probably had underestimated how multifaceted confidence is. Because we band around this word that's confidence, and there are so many intricacies, aren't there, and nuances and differences depending on the person that you're working with, the team you're working with, the work you do yourself. So sometimes when people say to me, so what do you do? And I say, I'm a confidence coach. I then feel like I almost have to justify that, because there's so many different things I do that we all do. It isn't just about confidence as you might perceive it, as we talked about earlier.
No, I love that. The different levels. So what would be some of those like different nuances that other people may not realize?
Well, I think a lot of people, back to what we said earlier, think that confidence is, I want to be confident like that person over there. I don't think that they realise that actually they've got that confidence in them. They need to do the work to find it for themselves, and whether that, Vanda, you've got behind you on the board values, and that's going to be episode 2 of the podcast where we're talking about values and confidence. I think there's some inner work that we need to do to trust ourselves, to build on our self-worth. And then I think there's the pieces around how we communicate with others. There's so many different things, but I think we have the word confidence itself, I think, a wild assumption that people, it's most commonly associated with, oh, that person's really confident. But underneath, we don't genuinely know what that really means.
Yeah.
Until we start to really kind of unpick what that is. And that's probably a whole nother episode for a whole nother time. Because we're taught, aren't we, oh, look at that person, they're confident. It's like people say, oh, they're full of themselves. Well, yeah, do you know what? I hope they are, because no one else is going to do it for them. They're not, are they? And of course, there's that fine line between confidence and arrogance. Of course there is. Why do you want to be like that person? Stay in your own lane. We're back there again, aren't we? I'm working with someone at the minute whose predecessor was very rah-rah. So she thinks she's got to be very rah-rah, but she can't be that person. She just can't. That's not her. And then that would be fake and not sustainable. So we're doing the work to kind of find out, well, who are you and how can you motivate your team and what does this mean to you? What might this look like to you? And that's kind of what I mean by, I can't even explain what I mean by it being multifaceted because it's so layered.
What's that quote? I'm trying to remember the author's name, and it's really annoying because it's a very, very popular author. But he says, be yourself, everyone else has taken.
Yeah, so true, isn't it? So true.
The other one that I really love, if you don't mind me adding there, is to be so confident about yourself that everybody else around you feels have the freedom to be themselves as well.
Yeah, and the mission in my business is that everybody can be authentically confident themselves. That you can just be, and that's why when we do the podcast, I say I don't do any editing because actually this is just how we would have a conversation if we were doing it over coffee. I don't think it's been any different, apart from I've said, Vanda, I'll come to you first, or Emma, I'll come. I don't think we'd do that if we were like in a coffee shop or something. But we know for the purposes of managing the podcast. Let's do these quick fire questions then. So who would like to go first on the quick fire? I'm putting you on the spot now. Who's confident enough to go first?
Oh, I'll go.
Oh, okay. Right. Are you ready, Emma? I don't know how quick fire they'll be. So my first question is, when was the last time you felt confident? What were you doing? Who were you with and where were you?
So I'd say today. So I've been a mediator for nearly 10 years, but I trained as a send mediator only last year. And so I've been doing that a lot this year and building my skills. So it was actually quite nice to think about these questions before. I'm not doing a very quick answer. But yeah, to kind of recognize when I did a mediation earlier today that I felt really confident, very just, relaxed about the whole process and didn't know quite what was going to happen because you never quite know. They're all nuanced, but that I was okay with whatever possibility was going to come out of it.
Great. I love that. And I've obviously followed your journey to do that part of the mediation as well, which has been really exciting. What's a non-negotiable for you about your confidence?
That I am in control of it, not other people. And so it's determined by me. Because I think what we were talking about with external validation is that if you rely on other people, then it doesn't help. Similarly, if you rely on your emotions, that doesn't always help because how you're feeling every day changes depending on lots of different other factors. So I have to determine, rather than based on feelings or rather than based on other people, I have to determine my confidence level.
And one piece of advice to turn self-doubt into confident action?
Do the thing and see what happens. Try it like it's an experiment. Do the thing, see what happens.
Brilliant. And one daily confident habit that you'd recommend?
Do things that make you feel good, that make you that you feel confident in yourself about doing.
Yeah, great. Thank you. And breathe. You're done. You win. Well done. Thank you, Emma. Right, Vanda, your turn in the hot seat now. So when was the last time you felt confident? What were you doing? Where were you and who were you with?
It was last Sunday. Last Sunday we had a dressage competition, and that was my third dressage competition altogether, and the second one with Delilah as a team. And we came first. Yay. And it's not even the result. I didn't know what I was going to comment. I didn't know if I was going to place at all, and it didn't matter. And I was so confident in our relationship with Delilah. I felt at ease. I felt relaxed. And I think this is why we came first, because I knew that she had me and, she knew that I had her. We made a great partnership. That's what everybody commented on as well, is our partnership that we just went. I knew I don't have to control her. She knew she didn't have to tell me off or control me either. It was just the most amazing ride, if you like, because I didn't take it as a competition very seriously, didn't put all that pressure on myself. It's just, we do this every day. We ride together, we build this partnership, we keep building our bond. Let's just have some fun with it. Yeah, and I felt really, thinking back, I felt very confident. I wouldn't have described it as that on the day, but now thinking back, yeah, I was confident in our partnership.
Brilliant.
Multifaceted.
Yeah. What's a non-negotiable for you about your confidence?
Oh, what is it? Can I not say the same what Emma said? No, of course not. It is something very similar. It is about knowing that it is my choice. It's my choice to feel confident or to not feel confident. I'm not saying that I can just say that I haven't done this thing, but I feel confident about it. It's not about that. It's about having that attitude of curiosity that I am going to try because that's my choice. And I know that once I try it, I will confident about knowing at least whether I like it or not. But you can't even make that decision without having tried that thing. So it's that I always have a choice. I am in charge of my own mind, therefore my own results. And I do happen to believe that about every human being. So, yeah,
we always have a choice. What's one piece of advice then that you would give our listeners to turn self-doubt into confident action?
I always say that listening to yourself, your inner self-talk, is very important. And what is even more important is talking back to your self-talk. Because our self-talk is the worst critique and the most judgmental thing we will ever come across. We are just wired that way most of the time, aren't we? And if we keep listening to it and we keep taking it as gospel and as that is the ultimate truth, it will become our reality. So my top advice, or if you like, or suggestion, I don't really give advice, is to start challenging that inner voice. Do not believe every word that comes through your head. Those are just thoughts and nothing else. Thoughts and feelings. They are not the reality.
Yeah, brilliant. And one daily confident habit then that you'd recommend?
Always that reflective practice.
Yeah.
Since I've been doing it consistently, it changed my life completely. And now it's second nature. I don't actually think about doing it. It just happens. And it just keeps your confidence levels up, or can reflect on even your confidence drop. So then you know how to bring it back up. You can set those intentions for yourself for the coming day or week or month or whatever that will be. You have sort of an action plan of how to keep building and maintaining your confidence.
Amazing. Thank you, ladies. That's been fascinating conversation. We could go on and on and on. I've really enjoyed chatting with you both. So give us a quick lowdown of where somebody can find you if they want to know more. Emma, where could we find you?
So my lovely website, Mosaic Mediation, has a lot of details about all the different things that I'm involved with, whether you're looking for mediation support, coaching support, whether you're a mediator and you need a community, then I run a lovely community with a couple of other mediators and all sorts of other things going on, including training and mosaicmediation.co.uk.
And you mentioned earlier about your weekly update.
Yeah, so on LinkedIn I'm there quite a bit, and I think people can't really picture what is it that I actually do with my days. So I started doing that a little while ago, and I think some people have found that quite useful to be able to visualize what the life of a mediator is like and all the different activities that I get up to.
Thank you. And Vanda, where can we find you?
You can find me on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Anna. Yes, you can find me on social media at Unhappy with Vanda. And I also have a lovely website as well, and it's vandavarga.co.uk. You can find all the information about my mind MOTs, personal growth, mental fitness services, and the certified Unhappy practitioner courses.
Exciting. Oh, thank you, ladies. It's been amazing, and I will see you both soon.
Thank you.
Well, wasn't that a great way to kick off series 4? I loved having both Emma and Vanda to chat about confidence. And for me, it's something I've not done before. I've never had two people together on the podcast. So there was an element of, I felt quite vulnerable, but there was also an element of, I need to pull up my big pants, right, and do this and go for it. But I've been reflecting, and here are my takeaways from that conversation with both of them. I think the first thing is that confidence is built, right? You're not born with it. It's not something we either have or we don't. It grows through practice, through action, through reflection, through our experience. I think self-trust as well is at the heart of confidence, however we relate to that. Self-trust, self-assuredness, whatever terminology we want to use around that. But I also think it's really clear that confidence starts with courage and builds through trusting yourself to handle whatever comes your way, and knowing that it will be okay, right? Whatever happens will be okay. Comparison came up, as it always does when we talk about confidence, okay? So the AI note said it's confidence kryptonite. I'm not sure I love that word, but actually comparison certainly is the thief of joy, isn't it? And I really believe when things get tough, you remind yourself to stay in your own lane. Your confidence doesn't need to look like anyone else's, because it's your confidence and you can own that. I think our daily confidence habits really matter. And I think that was evident through the conversation with Emma and Vanda as well. So whether that's doing your reflective journaling or your reflective practice, however you choose to do that, that might not be journaling, right? That might be you choose to do that in a different way, whether that's out walking and thinking or recording voice notes to yourself, whatever that looks like. I really loved that also Vanda had some really strict rules around that. So one or maybe two things that didn't go quite so well. And I loved Emma's listening to music, listening to I guess, uplifting music. And I said, I listen to the radio because I like the background noise, and doing something you're really good at, right? Those small practices really do make a big difference, and they help to maintain and grow your confidence without a doubt. I think it's really clear that confidence isn't constant. Yeah, it fluctuates, especially when we're in that space where we're learning or we're growing or we're doing something new. I think it's, you accept that that's normal, and it's a sign of progress and a sign that you're moving forward. However small that seems, that's all fine. And Vanda talked about challenging your inner critic. If you've been following me for a while, you'll know mine's called Betty. And I think, don't believe every thought you have. Talk back to your self-doubt with your inner critic. I would say don't argue with your inner critic, though, because I don't think you'll ever win an argument with your inner critic. But you can talk back. And for example, I would say, okay, Betty, thanks, I've heard you, but I'm going to go and do this anyway. You're almost choosing curiosity over kind of that fear of the what ifs, if you like. And I really love this idea of you can borrow my confidence if you need to. So you surround yourself with people who believe in you until you can believe in yourself. And this absolutely isn't about faking it till you make it. I don't believe in that, because it's fake. It's not sustainable over time. But this is about acting as if. Act as if you are confident. Practice, practice, practice. And you will be, and you will believe in yourself. So I hope you enjoyed episode 1 of series 4. And I really look forward to you joining us on the next episode, which will be all about values with Melissa Haig.